So with COVID-19 cases on the rise across the country in the state and on the rise in college campuses across the state, is the plan right now still to bring students back on campus in the spring?
Absolutely. We are not going to deviate from that plan. All of the courses are set up in that 65-35 hybrid versus online scenario. We'll obviously monitor the situation over winter. What I expect is going to happen is the spike that the state is in right now will likely continue through the holidays as people get together. But then I think after the holidays, we should be through the worst of it. And so things should start to calm down and we should be able to go back on ground in the spring, again, with the hybrid model and the protocols in place. Even better news, if you've been watching the news about the vaccines that are being developed and how close they are to actually going into distribution. I was speaking to the president yesterday. We're cautiously optimistic, but we fully expect to be completely back to normal in fall of 21. So if we can get through this spring, it looks like sometime over the summer, most of the population, most of the United States should be able to be vaccinated, and these vaccines look to be highly effective. And so again, we're cautiously optimistic, but we really are hoping that by next fall, things will be back to normal and we can be back to being what we are at Eastern.
With all those progressions being made, kind of to circle back what we talked about at the beginning, so many unknowns back in May when I spoke with you, we experienced it now. Nobody had ever been on a college campus during a pandemic before. So is there anything that will be done differently after the experience of the past 2.5 months here on campus?
Yeah, I think what we've learned this semester is we do need to provide more support to the students who aren't well suited to do well in this environment. I think our classroom protocols have worked very well. We're not anticipating changing them at all, but I think what we need to do is create more opportunities for students to seek and get support if they are struggling with this kind of online hybrid environment. I think the technology has worked well. There are kinks that, Wi-Fi can always be stronger in different parts of campus. We are working on that. We do plan some upgrades over the winter break. But I think in terms of that, everything has gone reasonably well. What we really need to do in the spring is make sure that we're providing additional support to students who need it. And we have a number of plans that we're working on that. And we're actually going to bring in some consultants who will speak to the students and kind of give them some training on time management. What seems to be the problem is students are obviously very afraid. The virus is very scary. They're isolated and they seem to be lacking motivation. And so really what we need to do is work with them to give them the skills to be successful in this environment so that hopefully by next fall we're back to normal and then they can just continue progressing towards their degree.
What's the biggest thing you want the campus to know as we prepare to pivot to online learning as we approach the last few weeks into finals and heading into the spring semester?
I think the biggest thing we need to keep in mind is we just need to stay focused. These are difficult times. We're all tired of living kind of through this pandemic, but we really can't lose sight of the big picture. The biggest thing that I worry about is that a student who is struggling now may leave Eastern and stop pursuing their degree and then never come back. And what that means is the virus has won. If they don't complete their degree and get their education, that will dramatically alter their future, right? For the rest of their life, they will be at a disadvantage. So if we can just stay focused and get through this pandemic and continue towards that degree, then when we're through the pandemic and they've graduated, they can go out and have that very successful career and very successful life, which is why they came to Eastern in the first place. So I wrote a letter to the students a couple of weeks ago where I basically said 10 years from now, the person you're interviewing for a job with will not care if you didn't finish your degree because of COVID. They will just care that you didn't finish your degree and therefore you don't have the degree. So we can't lose sight on that point 10 years from now when we really do need to finish the degree and go out and be successful. So if we can just stay focused and get through this, right, this isn't going to last forever, and you got a long life ahead of you.
Dr. Bill Salka, the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Eastern, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, anytime, Tyler. Thanks.